You're watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.
Today on Business Trends Today, we're continuing our Mentorship Moments for Business Leaders series inspired by Amy Summers' best-selling book, Lift, 10 Mentorship Touchpoints to Empower Your Team and Accelerate Your Career. Amy joins us to focus on Touchpoint number 2, set structure and goals, why clear expectations, accountability, and consistent direction are essential for building confident, high-performing teams in today's workplace. Amy, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show.
Great to be here.
Great. So why do employees tend to perform better when expectations and goals are clearly defined instead of simply just assumed?
Well, I think we all do better when we have some kind of structure and goals. There might be some resistance to it in the beginning, but everybody feels better when they achieve, what they're being expected to do. And I think a lot of times these days, there's not a lot of clear direction, and that can actually cause people to leave workplaces if they don't know what they're doing and how they're contributing to the bigger picture.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Why don't companies be more defined with their goals and expectations of employees and team members?
I'm not sure what's going on, but I have a lot of young professionals tell me that they really don't know what they're supposed to do at work, that they spend a lot of time just doing busy work, that they have managers or bosses tell them, hey, if you see anything that needs to be done, let us know. They kind of put it on them, which is interesting because I don't remember that coming up in my career, that it was that loose. I remember being told I had to clear certain goals. So it seems to be a little bit looser right now. And so in my book, the tactical touch point is, set structure and goals is touch point 2. But it's a really important one because especially in this hybrid landscape, in a remote landscape, or even in this environment of do whatever you want to do, it helps people get focused on how to perform and how to, have time management, how to, achieve a goal. And that's something that has to be taught and practiced.
Yeah, for sure. One of the themes in this chapter is that many younger professionals are entering the workforce without that mentorship and structure. Previous generations, as you were just alluding to, often received naturally. What changed?
We might be relying more on technology to teach everything, so you can go read a manual or you can watch all these videos and figure it out on your own. We also have a generation coming up that is used to figuring out things on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They need to fix, their car, they're going to YouTube, a video for that.
Sure.
So they're kind of the do-it-yourself, generation, and they're not really seeking a lot of guidance. And then we have leaders that are still in that old mentality of come to me if you have any questions or let me know if you need anything. Right. But leaders need to be a little bit more intentional in their direction, because if they're not, then they might get work produced that is not exactly to their liking if it's not done the way they want it to be done. And for younger, people coming up in the workforce, there's a lot to learn from people that have been on the job for a while that you're not going to find on AI.
Yeah, so true. How do regular check-ins and routines and accountability help employees build confidence and gain momentum in their roles?
Well, for example, for my team, I give them a set structure of every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, they have a plan, a schedule, and they have goals. Mm-hmm. And if they clear those goals every 2 weeks, I bonus them out every 2 weeks. So I don't wait till the end of the quarter, end of the year, like traditionally most companies do. I will still give a yearly bonus at the end, but I'm bonusing them out every 2 weeks because I want them to feel that adrenaline rush of I cleared my goal, and then I can do it again in the next 2 weeks. I'm a big fan of kind of shorter time frame. I think the longer that you give somebody, they may not be pushing as hard, but if you can kind of train someone to like every 2 weeks, you're going to get a reward at the end if you hit this goal, then it just makes people more productive and it makes them understand time management better too, because you have to have good time management if you're going to hit goals.
So, wow, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs just open up their eyes on this concept of this reward program, much like you would reward your domestic pet at home. I hate to say that.
My dog Winnie, she gets treats every day, so I don't know. She just looks cute, and I give her a reward.
Exactly. But isn't that? I mean, you are kind of on a slippery slope there. That because first of all, when do you can never not have that, right? Aren't they going to go? Oh, wait a minute. Let's not end these programs. Let's not end these little bonus programs here. I'll work for you and get it done, but I'm going to need something at the end of this. And then is that sending out the right signal?
Well, I found that I had to do it, Jim, during the time period that I took my company 100% remote. Because when I did that, I realized that I cannot micromanage my team like I used to. They're not in the office. I can't see what they're doing every day.
Sure.
So I really put a lot of trust in that they're spending their time, that they're working for me.
Right.
Working for me. Otherwise, I have no idea. So for me, the financial incentives work. I just build it into my business model. It's set in there that way. So it's not like a one-time thing. It's just part of how we are structured. It may not work for everybody,
right?
But I share it in my book because it's something that I found through a lot of trial and error that really motivated people. What I found was that your team is more motivated by just making money, not necessarily going on a cruise with the boss or, having a big party.
Sure.
Companies will spend thousands of dollars on all kinds of incentives that really employees don't care that much about.
No, they don't. They almost see it as work. They're like, I got to go on this thing. And then, by the way, if I decide not to go on this company outing, my name's getting put in some kind of file somewhere where it's like, oh, Bobby didn't go. He's on that list. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, let's talk about the hybrid workforce for a second, since you touched on that. How has hybrid and remote work increased the need for stronger communication and clearer direction from leadership? I know it's a challenge for me, and maybe it's because of my baby boomer generation that I'm in. I'm just not used to it. I will tell you right up front. But however, we do have some employees that do work remotely a few days a week, and it works for them. They get the job done. And but I'm not as comfortable with it. I'm still not used to it. In fact, I often tease them, and they'll be working from home on Friday, and I'll see them on Thursday, and I'll say, "Well, have a great weekend." They're like, "You still think we don't work from home?" I know they do, but I think I share that with a lot of people that are in upper generations there that are still trying to get their hands around this whole thing of working from home.
Well, it's not easy to work from home. I mean, it's actually can be more distracting. It's definitely more convenient. You don't have to get up and get ready every day and do a commute and go into, and put on game face every day and chit chat about the weather. I mean, you don't have to do any of those things when you're working remotely, but when you are working from home, it is challenging because the rest of your life is at home. So you can easily get distracted by things that are just happening in your own home because you are home, and it's assumed that you have to take care of all the home things while you're at home too. Sure. So that's where setting the structure really is important. If you're going to be working from home and you want it to work and you want your boss to be okay with you working from home, you need to set up an environment where this is my space while I'm working. You put a sign on the door so the rest of the family members and children and everybody else knows, no, I'm working right now actually, and I'm not available to go, fix the dishwasher or whatever is going wrong.
Yes.
So I think it's really important, especially if you work remotely. And also it's extra important because you're not visible in the office. So your, leadership can't see you every day.
That's right.
So that means you have to be a good performer. So you better set those goals because you need to prove that you can perform if you are going to take the luxury of working from home or, in another city, perhaps, of where your company's not based.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a reality. It's a fact of life. I mean, many companies are dealing with this remote work in a very big way. We've got, I can't tell you the number of people that we've interviewed, or in some cases, wanted to interview, but right up front they said, "Is this remote work?" "No, it's not. You got to be in the office." "Forget it. When I'm not interested." So it's a real issue out there. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of employees or a lot of employers are trying to get their hands around and find some, fair medium, right?
Yes, and it's also sometimes unclear to workers what remote means. I think I've heard that a lot in job listings, like it might say remote work, but they don't really mean that exactly. They still want you in the office. So especially when you're in the interview process, and if you want to work remotely, you better be asking very clear questions about what that means to them.
Sure.
Because I also think that people use that word and maybe they define it a different way.
Sure, sure. We've had people that have come to us and said, and I'm sure that I speak for a lot of business owners that have said, okay, the job, that you offered me pays X number of dollars, but I will take less money if I can work from home. Have you heard that before? And what's your take on that?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my former interns just recently consulted me about a job change she was making in her career.
Sure.
And she took a $10,000 pay cut just so that she could work remotely.
Yeah.
But that frees her up because now, she can live wherever she wants to in the country.
Yep.
She's not stuck in one city. And she really didn't like her commute. So it didn't matter the money so much to her that she could have that freedom and flexibility.
Sure.
So I think it just depends on what priorities people have, and what's important to them.
Yeah, for sure. For business owners and managers watching today, what are some of the simple ways that they can create more clarity and structure for their teams right away?
Well, I would say first just start out with, what are the priorities of the company? What are the goals you're trying to meet for the company? So the leader needs to sit with that for a minute. If you have clients or customers and you're trying to deliver, you need to really think through, where do we want to be in the next 6 months? How are we going to get there? So what do we need to be in the next 3 months? And then you're going to back it up from there into tangible tasks that need to be done. And there you go. So there are your goals, and you can start setting that with your team. And once you get the entire team working towards a shared goal that they understand what the objective is in the next 6 months, chances are you're probably going to get there faster. But I think a lot of leaders, they don't take the time to plan like this. I'm strategizing for my company and my clients every 2 weeks. It's the same cycle that I give my team, a new schedule every 2 weeks. So if I see, hey, we're really not moving much on this client and their goals, then I've got to recalibrate that. And so it keeps us very focused on producing. And so the leader has to start with that. They need to know what the goals are, and then it's going to trickle down from there with their team. Yeah,
it's great advice. Great advice. Amy Summers, author of Lift, 10 Mentorship Touchpoints to Empower Your Team and Accelerate Your Career. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Once again, I know that our viewers and subscribers get a lot out of your visits with us and this series that we're doing here together. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Cool.
Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.